Hey guys, Dib the Awesome here to give you a Monster Legends Guides, where we talk about monsters' moves, rune sets, partners, all that jazz. Today we're talking about El Dino Volador, or Volador. Volador! Really cool name, really cool design. This is the product of Plymouth and Gangstersaurus. This is the fusion monster for this July's breeding event. Really cool monster. I've been really excited for this monster. I'm making this video after the stream that just got done, and yeah, I really, in all honesty, I wanted to talk about this monster a long time ago. I had my throat killed me, my voice was killing me, so I didn't have the energy to do this video. I didn't have the energy. Another thing too, I'm sorry. I did say my next video would be Tool Kaju, like that. That made again, that just happened around the time my voice was killing me. So I'm sorry. That was never a thing. But yeah, we're back into it now. So this is the next guide after Ukaduma, or yeah, after Ukaduma. This is the guide following that. But yeah, we're talking about this day's breeding event. It just started today. It started this Tuesday, and we're going to talk about him today. We're going to talk about my thoughts on him, what have you. Now, the monsters used for this breeding event, I have both of these. It's pretty much one of those situations. I was pretty much, in terms of my group of friends, in terms of my group of peeps, what have you, in terms of probably the Discord chat, odds are I'm probably one of the few people that actually own the material monsters straight up the bat, because they're not the most popular in the world. The combination used for these monsters are actually Plymouth and Gangstersaurus. Just straight up the bat. I have both of them. I enjoy both of them. And that's kind of why I did the stream today, because I enjoy both of the material monsters. Like, hey, why not make a video on this? Why not make a stream on it? What have you. But yeah, again, I was really happy about this monster for a couple of reasons. Again, I thoroughly enjoy using the monsters, and I love the design. I love the concept. This is a dib monster. This is funny. It's a dinosaur. It's specifically a Triceratops in a wrestler outfit, in a turkey wrestler outfit. This is funny, and I've used his moves. I have actually used this monster today, which I don't usually do for guides. I actually just make the guide first before getting the monster. But this is the first monster I actually have that I actually do a video on, just straight up on the first day. And I gotta say, he's a lot of fun, and he's really strong. But yeah, we're going to talk about movesets, what have you, today. Starting with his power. Let's talk about his power. His power boasts a power of 3,509. This is an impressive attack stat, because what you can do is, if you run a level 10 strength rune on it, that's completely fine. You don't need to run anything else. You can run 2 speeds on it, and you can AoE deny anything you want, because this is actually not the first. He's funny. I bet you're just kind of looking at me there. He's like, yeah, wait a second. Wait, think about your words for a second here. You could say he's the second nature monster in the game that we finally have a AoE stunner. This isn't the first AoE stunner, but mind you, our first AoE nature stunner. In terms of nature monsters, our first nature AoE, in terms of a denier, AoE denier, Roasty was our guy. Roasty right here. The base stats weren't the prettiest in the world. It's ironically enough, one of the base monsters is actually a Thanksgiving monster too. That's another ironic thing. That's just a jab at Roasty right there. But yeah, this is basically, people will just say this is the one that doesn't have terrible base stats and doesn't have a terrible trait. This trait is actually immunity to poison, not immunity to poison, sorry, immunity to stun. So it's immune to most of the common, single target stun that some nature monsters hold. Specifically Gullen and General Ulysses here, and Sarah. So he's good at defending himself from stuns, which is really, really nice. I will say his weak point, though, I'm going to say for the most part, he is weak against Lamu. He just is. There's just nothing about it. One turn spam, pretty much close to spammable possession skill, and he's not running he's not running a higher base speed than Lamu, so he's gonna be outpaced for the most part, unless you do run him 2-speed. Again, that's probably why you should run him 2-speed too, so you don't get double turned, and then maybe you have a chance to set up double damage and then do a stun, which would be really good for you. Fun fact, this monster actually, instead of metal damage, this thing is related to I know this is just another side fact, but he actually does magic damage instead of metal damage. So he's really, he talks about how he doesn't want to put into his father's footsteps. He actually has moves that goes against his father. He can AoE stun him, he does magic damage too. So he's like, no thanks, Dad. I don't want to do this possession. I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a macho man. And this guy is very macho. His moves are very macho. We'll talk about it more later. But you guys want to hear the stats. What's up with this monster? So power is really, really nice. It lets you run just a really high, if you have a really high strength thing, you can put it on this thing and it'll feel all right. It'll feel great. You can, of course, run the 2 damage if you like 2 strength and a speed. So you get even more damage out of that. You can do that. I'll say that is a option. His life is 29,255. This is a really, really nice base life. He's not brittle. He's pretty close to tanky. Not there yet, but this is a pretty good life. This scales life. I also say this will scale with, if you're running something with team life, this scales nicely with it. Or like if you have a monster with team wounds on, it's again nice. It goes well with it. His speed is 3,421. This is 3D speed. It is the acceptable speed. I will say this is pretty much as low as any... And in terms of a denier's meta speed, this is as low as it gets. People use things like Frostbite all the time. People use things like 3D. So this is the... I consider this the lowest speed. So there's no complaining about the speed here, except for the fact it's not the highest speed. This is still a pretty good speed. It outpaced a lot of the low tier deniers, especially some things like Varuna. Varuna's immune to stun, but that's not the point. It means he's faster than those. So if you were to run full speed, you could deny the other 2 monsters before Varuna could even have a chance to freeze you. And the funny thing is, if you do, and the funny thing is, we're gonna get to that later. He can actually counter Varuna setup. He can counter slower freezer setup with a move, but we'll talk about that later. But just to let you guys know, the speed is really acceptable. So you could have the option to run this guy as a denier if you want to. I'm gonna say it might not be his strongest suit, but you can do it. That's totally an option. You can build him like that. That is a valid option. His trait is immunity to stun, like I said. So he's pretty good in dealing with fire monsters single target stun, especially if it's like a it's just a straight up stun, if it's single target stun, because all the fire monsters do is stun at the moment. So this is really nice. It's good for fire type situations. It's good for nature situations. Safe for Lamu. It's good for things, again, with only single target stunning or you're reliant on just stunning. This is nice for those situations. And he has the moves that protect him from freezing, but again, we'll get to that in a moment. His ultimate, El Dino Finisher. Now, this ultimate is pretty sick. He's like, summons a wrestling ring and he just pile drives the enemy. It is so cool. This is a 75 damage ultimate. Damages everybody. Neutral damage all around. Nothing to argue about here. Just straight up damage. If you build him 2 strength runes, especially really high ranking strength runes, you're going to knock something out of the park or just kill everything at that point. They're just taking too much damage. It's good if you have double damage set up already. It's just heavy damage. Just all around heavy. I don't usually talk about skills in skill groups around skill words. That was really fast. I don't usually talk about skills in skill groups 1 because usually they're just really, really nerfed things of skill groups 2. But we're going to talk about one skill move here, and that's Maroma Mortal. Maroma Mortal. A very, very seductive tone right there. Maroma Mortal. Which is a spammable 30% heal. Now this is kind of a thing that's good against Lamu too. If you do run this, let's say you are running a defensive, Aldino here. If you do run this move, it's good that you're not taking much damage. You're gonna minimize the amount of damage they actually wind up doing to you while you're possessed. Or you have if they decided to possess your denier, or like if this is your denier and the Lamu decides to possess you, there's a chance you'll do this and your monsters will be fine. And then they have to deal with the other 2 monsters. So if you're already running another denier with this thing, they have a chance to miss out a deny. They have the chance to miss the deny on this, and then you have another denier back up that could deny their team. It's kind of one of those safety things. They could also deny that other denier too. They don't necessarily need to possess El Dino here. That's just a possibility. They might make a mistake. But this guy can 30% heal. I love spammable 30% heals. I'd say for the most part, you only ever use this move when you're trying to stall out time and or you're possessed. That's the only time you're going to use this. Because for the most part, this is your damage. For the most part, this mainly focuses on damaging your enemies. You only ever use this is more so just a safety move than anything else. It's not I wouldn't say it's his best move, but it's a really, really cool move. I like this. I like spammable moves, especially a 30% spammable heal, because if you ever use this epic monster right here, this nature monster right here, boop, boop, This guy. If you ever use this guy, Primigenus, right here, he's a lot of fun. Just spammable 30% heal with life regen. Broken shit, man. But it's a really good safety move. Again, you only ever use that in that occasion. It scales better if you're building life. I will say if you build the extra guy build, the scales better. But again, it just does that. It's just a self-heal. That's all it does. Monster Slam. This is a 50 damage, 2-turn cooldown, 28 stamina move, and it's single target stuns. It's magic based. Now, I'm going to say for the most part, you should run this move for a number of reasons. One, it's magic based, so it's going to do normal damage to nature monsters. Two, it's going to stun them. If they're not stunned, if they haven't gotten immunity to stun on, or like recently stunned, you can stun them just straight up. And B, it's great for metal monsters. This thing just beats the ever-living crap out of metal monsters with this move specifically, and the fact he can boost the damage later. Again, we're going to get to that in a bit. But this is just the thing. You do run it solely for that purpose, because the next move is actually a highly better damage move. In terms of damage output, the next move is immensely better, and that is the Monster Assault. Monster Assault! Which deals very heavy nature damage and dazes the target. This requires a cooldown of 1 turn, 31 stamina, 65 damage, and odds are he tosses confetti with this move. I'm going to say for the most part, in terms of animation, this one tosses chairs, and this one probably tosses confetti at him. It's just funny. Unless or at least he actually maybe just punches people with this move. I'm not for sure. I've yet to see an animation where he just goes up and straight up beats the crap out of somebody, like punches someone. I've yet to see that, but odds are this tosses confetti, or he does actually punch them or something. I have yet to see that, because the moveset I have on him just tosses chairs and confetti, or just he throws confetti in the air. Fun fact is the animation for Roma Motel actually heals them too. You know, it does. I just said it heals them, but he tosses confetti. He's healing confetti. That's funny. Confetti this. Monster Assault. Now I'm gonna say you should run this on. I'm going to say for the most part, if you are building a damage build-oriented one, if you're building 2 to damage, you might want to consider running this thing. One, it's his lowest cooldown damage skill. This is really low. It's 1 turn cooldown. So if you get Timerion, this will come up right away, and it'll be really helpful for you. And it's again 65 damage. That's his highest base. This is his highest base single target damage skill. You should consider running it. It dazes people too. So this actually increases his survivability quite a bit. He also holds an AoE daze too. We'll get to that in a bit, and that's also fantastic. Playmouth Submission. We're not quite there yet with that special self-buff skill I mentioned. But this is a 25% heal and a damage boost. It gives them 25% heal and a damage boost. Now, personally, between Playmouth Submission and Moroma Mortal, I still consider running this move, A, because it's spammable. It's less, stamina. There's just only 3 more stamina. That's not going to make any difference. But it's, again, spammable versus non-spammable. This is a 2-turn cooldown. This is a spammable move, and it deals you 5% more. It's just a good survivability scale. This does give you damage, I will say that. It does give you a damage boost, so if you wanted to run it, you can. Just know that you're not going to be able to spam heal. It's not, in all honesty, between his 3 self-buffs, he has 3. This is my least favorite one. It just is. I did say in the past, like, if damage boost came with something else, it'd be alright to run. So it's fair for me to say, or it should be fair for me to say I'd be alright running this skill. Okay, but yeah, I'm going to say you may run it. I'm going to say it's an option, because it is doing something other than damage buff. It is healing too. You may do that. I will say that. But that's it. Personally, again, I'd run Maroma Mortal Heal, because it's a better healing scaling, and again, spammable. If you get Timerion, you can spam this. You can heal damage as you're waiting for your cooldowns. Specifically, if you have Maroma Mortal, you can run Monster Assault, and if you get Timerion, you heal, and then the next time you move, you just do a damage. You do a lot of damage. Monster Suplex. This is his deals moderate magic damage to all enemies, and it stuns everybody. Now, this is pretty fantastic. This is pretty much a Real Razorface move. In fact, he runs Real Razorface combos. In fact, he runs upgraded Real Razorface combos. If you don't know what Real Razorface is, he's pretty much a monster with like an AoE stun, an AoE daze, and the daze is on a 2-turn cooldown. Yeah, he has a 2-turn AoE daze too, which is fantastic. And again, that daze is actually upgraded, because it actually is a 45 damage skill, but we'll get to that in a bit. But Monster Suplex, this is your utility move. This is your AoE stun skill. Everybody loves this monster specifically because it can do this. People have been waiting so long for like an AoE stunner or AoE denier nature monster in the nature category. And he's gonna be in the family books too, so that's another reason to get this monster, because he's the son of Gangstersaurus, so it's a good idea too. Just a really good skill overall. Palancha Splash. This deals moderate nature damage to all enemies, may daze all enemies. This requires a cooldown of 2 turns, 37 stamina, and 45 damage. This is a really good base damage skill. And fun fact, this is actually, he just tosses confetti at everybody. You would think getting hit with chairs would hurt more. No, it's confetti. The confetti animation, he just uses the confetti animation and they just blow up. It's funny. For right now, at the moment, I'm running a level 3 strength rune on it, and the damage isn't, obviously the damage isn't going to be amazing, but if you are running really great strength runes, this is going to hurt so hard, or hit so hard. It'll knock them flat. And it's, again, it's on a 2-turn cooldown. If you have double damage set up, this does hurt. But it also runs, again, 2-turn cooldown, so it's pretty close to spam. Pretty close, not close enough. But it's got a really reliant cooldown. I love these combo cooldowns, because you can start the game off with Palancha Splash, then you go with the stun, and then you go with with a setup skill, and then you could do this again, and it's heavy hitting, which is nice. Now I'm gonna say run the skill if you want to get rid of magic monsters immediately. In honesty, if you want to get rid of magic monsters, this is a good move to run. Along with Moonster Assault, because they're both nature based, they're gonna do a lot of damage to nature monsters. This is also his highest based AoE. If you are building him damage, this should be your main priority. You should be doing a lot of damage, or like a lot of AoE damage. Cooldown, focusing on just damage overall rather than denying, because that's your denier's job. That's what your denier is for. Your denier is supposed to just be able to chain deny, and your monsters are just supposed to deal the damage. But you may have stuns or anything like that. Like again with Moonster Suplex, if you're running attacker, you may do that. You run Moonster. I would say you should be running Moonster Suplex on every build, because A, it's your AoE stun, it's like an AoE deny, and 2, it does a lot of damage to metal monsters. It does a lot of damage to Chimera, and it can do a lot of damage to Metalhead. Just a lot of damage to things that are annoying as shit. And you want them to be gone. You just want them to be gone, and they're now gone, because this does double damage, and if you have double damage set up, even good for you. Speaking of double damage, we are now stumbling upon the move you've been waiting for. The move that I've been saying pretty much gives him no trouble against water monsters. Bum-ba-da-ba. La Voladora Special. Gives immunity to freeze, may give double damage to an ally. Now, this was the skill that I was debating on running, whether I wanted to use this skill or Maroma Mortal as my first try as I first tried him out. I debated about it the longest of time, because it's pretty much one of those skills. If you are planning on running this skill, the benefits of running this skill is you are immune to freeze. You can give yourself immunity to freeze, and you give double damage too. This is a fantastic setup skill. The kind of iffy thing about it is your support usually deals with this for the most part. Or at least if you have monsters that already give immunity to freeze, you could say this is kind of unnecessary to run. But again, if you're not running those monsters, this becomes valid. I will say that if you're not running anything with the mount, if you're not running something like Gorin, Kalik, Bowtie, Gangsta Vanos, things that can give you immunity to freeze, you don't necessarily have to run it, but you can run it just in case they die on you, or just because you think this is like 1,000 times better than a spammable 30% heal. This does run on a 3-turn cooldown too, and we are getting a lot of monsters nowadays that kind of set the cooldown on everything. I'd say the biggest complaint with this monster too is just the major cooldowns on some of his really broken skills, like the AoE stun, magic based AoE stun here, and the the freeze, again, 3-turn cooldown, the immunity freeze, 3-turn cooldown. So hopefully you don't actually lose that in the time given, but this monster can basically have the mountain tray with this setup move, and that's fantastic. That's beautiful. I will say run this on damage sets if the build allows it. If you can squeeze it in, do squeeze it in. It's not a bad idea. So now here comes the troubling part. what build do I recommend you? Now, there is, in all honesty, there is no wrong way to build this guy. In fact, anything, this thing has a forward move syndrome. You want to run this, and you want to run every single move and skill. Like you want to run the spammable heal. You want to run the stun. You want to run the low cooldown, high damage skill. You want to run the AOE stun, and you want to run the this and this. You just want everything here. You want everything in skill groups 3, select stuff, and 2 things in skill groups 2, and hey, 1 skill in skill groups 1. Hey, there we go. Yep. Yeah, we want all these goodies, you have to choose 4. It does have 4 move syndrome. So you decide how this thing basically runs. Here's a few build ideas. 2 damage and a speed. With this build, you run La Voladora, you run the Monster Suplex, you run Monster Assault, and you run Monster Slam. Now, are you running the high base AoE damage for this set? Not necessarily, no. The point of this build specifically is at the idea of doing really good to very high damage to even nature monsters, while also doing heavy damage to metal monsters. You do miss out on that nature damage, again, that really good AoE damage on nature, magic monsters. You do miss out on that, but you're getting more universal damage out of Monster Suplex, of Palancha Splash. You are getting genuinely, universally speaking, you're doing more universal damage just because you're getting more super effective stuff, or like you're able to deal damage to your own kind and metal monsters as well. And again, you bring up Monster Slam to do more damage to that, and you do more damage to nature monsters themselves. This generally runs the same cooldown too. So theoretically speaking, if you were to replace this move with Monster Slam, that's totally fine because the cooldowns are the same. They run on the same cooldown. So in terms of loss, you're not really missing out on anything. You run Monster Assault because it's a high space damage attack. It's good for bringing up after being cooldown outaged. You just do it for that. It's really high damage. Again, cooldown, it's relevant, and it dazes. You can run all the damage moves you want. If you're not too fond of a monster that's self-set up, you don't want that, you can run all the damage moves. It just gives them more damage. It gives them more time to move. It gives them more time to do more damage. And the cooldown, if you do this cooldown, no, honestly, if you do this set, if you if you do Monster Assault, Monster Slam, Monster Suplex, and Palancha Splash, you get more damage, you get more moves, and the cooldowns are better. Because look at this, he's not running a 3-turn cooldown beyond his stun, and all your cooldowns are on a 1 to 2 turn cooldown. That's a healthier rotation. So you most likely start most games off with Monster Suplex, and then you can go beyond that to either Palancha Splash. You can do that, and then all you have to do is use the other 2 moves in your disposal, and you'll probably have your AoE stun up again. Or better yet, you can do Monster Suplex, you do Palancha Splash, and if you do these 2 moves and they're still alive, you can do Palancha Splash again, because that's a 2-turn cooldown. The combo rotation is lovely. The damage rotation for that is lovely. Everything about this monster is lovely, because you can see him do so many cool things. He hits people with chairs. He hits people with confetti. This is the definition of a very humorous macho man. This is really cool. Yeah, again, that's why I'm really excited about it. Now, in terms of self-skills, there is no wrong way to build it. I will say, if you're building a life skill, not a life skill, a life rune, the skill's better with it, the healing's better. This is greater when I will say this is the better move for when you're getting possessed, simply because you're getting healed. You're sponging damage. You're not necessarily taking damage. So here's a build relating to this move. I would say this move, if you're going to use this move, here are some moves that complement with that sustainability. You should be running Monster Assault, you should be running Monster Slam, and you should be running the AoE Daze or the Stun. Yeah, I'm going to give you a choice. You get a choice between the Stun or the Daze. The either one. I'm going to say just fit it with your comp, whatever you want. Fit it with whatever you decide. This is more universal damage. This is more so of an extra guy build. So for this since you're using this, you use the extra guy build, so you're not the mainstream damage in this situation here. So you could run the AoE stun if you wanted this to be you wanted to deny, just straight up another deny in your pocket. Here's a stun for you. But if you do this, you can sponge more damage. I will say that, like, like you can't always stun people. Like, you can stun them once, but then you have to remove the positive effects to stun them again. But this is a move that lets you take less damage, and they have a chance to miss. True, you're applying the same effect with the single target skill, but again, you're just taking less damage. The idea with this build is just to take less damage, or like, you just do that. So you do pick up. The reason why you're picking up the single target stun really is just so it's just cooldownage. You have better cooldowns. You're moving more. It lets you breathe more. Is this extra guy? He's not your mainstream damage, but he can do respectable damage at the same time. Here's the two speed. This is the 2 speed runes and a strength rune build. I highly recommend trying this build out. The main idea with this is he's not necessarily the mainstream denier, but he's not necessarily slow. So you're gonna outpace things that like Voltic, for example. If you're fighting a Voltic with just 2 stamina runes and a speed rune, you're gonna outrun him. Just straight off the bat, you're gonna outrun Voltic and just straight up AoE stun him, which is fantastic in your situation. So in case of the event you missed the first time with your deny, here's a second chance at that. And if anything, you can punch the daylights out of them. You can use that 65 damage move. So you run the Monster Suplex, you run the Moonster or Salt, just good burst damage, just straight up. If you need to get rid of something, bam, it's dead. Run La Volador, I would say run the self buff skill. In the case of the event, you do get like Frozen. If you want to get avoid Frozen, just make sure. I'm gonna say running the skill runs better when you have it ranked up because you have more life. If you don't want to run that, you can run. I don't know if I recommended Palancha Splash, but honestly, if you're gonna use this guy, if you kind of like your subpar denier slash some even more damage. In the case of event, your damage dies. Here's some more. You still have some damage left. You don't have. I mean, like, this is just the option to run, but you could run. I'm gonna say for the most part, you should run the stun in every build. It's just a fantastic move. Monster Suplex, Moonster Assault, Monster Slam again. It's just good against nature monsters, and you should run this. If you run Palancha Splash, if you don't care about with the setup skill, but with the setup skill, you're actually, in all honesty, if you do use the setup skill, you are filling in that damage you're missing. I will say that. So that's nice. So yeah, it's just an option, just more ideas. And then, again, this makes him have the mountain trait. So if you have a monster, in all honesty, if you have a monster that can give you immunity to possession, you're immune to all 3 deny. You're fine. You don't care about anything at this point, which is fantastic. Except Mega Sun. I will say that's the only thing you'll care about at this point. But that's it, and that's lovely. That works fantastic. So it works well with, let's talk about partners real quick. It depends on who you pair it up with, I'm going to say. Depends on your build. I'm going to say it roughly depends on your build. Because if you have something that gives immunity to freeze, you don't necessarily need this. You can bring it in case you do get frozen. But I'm going to say if you have partners that just give immunity to freeze, if you just got a whole bunch in your utility and you use that with them all the time, you don't necessarily need to run this, but you can if you just feel like I should run this in the case of event. My other guy dies and hey, I have another get out card for immunity. I get it, immunity to freezing, and that's nice. Kalik is an option that for those ideas that aren't, if you have stuff to give this already, this immunity to freeze. Bowtie, Kalik, those the immunity bros. Again, Bowtie, Kalik, Sarah, Gangster Vanoss, Monster Device, what have you. If you're planning on pairing up with any of those guys, you're solid. AoE life regen. This thing has decent life, so you can pair it up with that. Things that can remove positive effects. If you have a monster that has AoE remove positive effects, pair it up with this thing because you can do stun. Especially Discopolis. I'm gonna say Discopolis too. It's depending on your team comp there. If you have like a monster, I'm gonna say this: you can have like Discopolis on your team. Let's say you have Discopolis, a monster that removes positive effects, and this thing, Discopolis goes first, AoE stuns, or you can have this thing go AoE stun first, and then you can follow it up with the remove positive effects, and then your Discopolis goes and can AoE stun again. This is an actual thing. You can actually do this. This has been a recent change. to recently stunned. You can remove recently stunned with remove positive effects, so you may do that. That's an idea. You can mess around with the turn order comp there if you wanted to, but that remove positive effect monster has to go. I'm going to recommend that remove positive effect monster has to go after all the 3 other monsters have gone, all after the enemy monsters have gone, so it gives you more denied privilege. You deny everybody again. You can just keep doing this constantly. So Velgar the Pure actually works well with this combo because I do believe he runs a spammable remove positive effects. I do believe he does that. So that combo, that's an idea you may run with it. I'm going to say if this thing's a denier, pair it up with things that can buff up his speed or lower the speed of his enemies because he's not running the highest speed in the game. Do that. Pair it up with team speeders, team rune monsters, supporters, what have you. You can only, in all honesty, in terms of deny, you can only go down to an AoE stun. That's all he does is stunning. Nothing beyond that. So maybe if you want something more to mix that up, possession, what have you. Fill up the things you need, I will say, for this monster. You're going to fill up what he doesn't do, what have you. Buffers work with this monster. If you build him attacker, that's fine. Ukaduma, Frostbite, those are AoE buffers. They generally help everybody. They'll help him out, do his thing. All this monster wants is to be able to do his thing. If you can do that for him, you're gonna have a really awesome monster, and it's really fun watching him do his thing. He throws chairs and he has confetti. Overall, really fantastic monster. I thoroughly enjoyed this monster so far, and I've only used him for like 6 fights today. 6 arena fights, and then a couple of dungeon fights too. So I've been using him a bit today, and I've been enjoying him. No downside. In all honesty, there's no downside to this monster. If you get this monster, congratulations. Have fun with it. I will say if you're planning on ranking this up during a breeding event, if you wanted to take the time, let's say you got a $50 gem vase and you're planning on doing this, or you're asking Dib, what would be a good monster to breed during this breeding time? Should I breed Dino Volador, or should I breed Gangstasaurus? Should I do that? Which one would you choose? Odds are you should go for Gangstasaurus. Here's for a number of reasons. One, you probably has less of a chance to get El Volador, because today I actually I did a stream today. If you're new to my channel, I actually did a stream. And I didn't get a whole lot of El Voladors than I expected. I got like 3. I spent about like the equivalent of a $50 gem vase, and I got 3. So you'll probably have better odds. Just take my experience for it. You'll probably have better odds and better like epic opportunities. There are different epics in this event, like Valerays and Stormarin. It's like a Cloudian monster. It's like this guy right here. I'll pull him up because I don't even think I'm pronouncing his name right. Yeah, Stormrim right here. Stormrim right here, this Cloudian thing. You'll get a chance to breed him. I don't know if it's within that combination. And you can also breed the Soap Sam. It's also an opportunity you can get. And if you're using Violet and Soap Sam together, you have a chance to get Violet. That is a opportunity. And you have an opportunity to get Galante if you're breeding Galante, with I think it's like Crushmore. I think that was the extra thing. Go check the Facebook for that. I do believe that was it, though. That was the substitute, I do believe. Or no, it was for Crushmore. Never mind. I think it was. Go check the Facebook. Don't just automatically assume I'm saying the right one, because I've said both at this point for Crushmore and Blob. You can substitute it for Blob. No way, you can substitute it for Crushmore. Go check the Facebook page. But yeah, overall, fantastic monster. Gangstasaurus is also not a bad monster, mind you. I love the lifesteal on it. It's really, really nice. In terms of which one, like if let's say Plymouth and or Gangstasaurus still, because his life regain life regain is based on how much damage it deals, not necessarily a thing you can remove with remove positive effects. Unlike Plymouth's AoE regen, you can remove that with remove positive effects. So go rank up Gangstasaurus. You're gonna have a lot of fun with him. Trust me. In all honesty, all 3 of these monsters in this event are really fun to use. I have all 3 of these monsters, and I enjoy them. I will say also, if you do breed for El Dino, you have a chance to get Gangstasaurus, and you do have a chance to get Plymouth. I will say that if you're curious of that, is there a chance I can get El Dino? Is there a chance I can get Gangstasaurus? Is there a chance I can get Plymouth? Absolutely yes for both. That is totally a thing. And that's all it is for this video. I hope you really do enjoy it. Let me know. I really love this monster. I really hope this guide was helpful. Overall, I just hope you enjoyed it. I'm Dib the Awesome. I'll catch you guys later.